am. Looks like I'm getting a strange notification on my
A
phone.
strange notification. That can't be good.
It
What does
says
it
there was some
say?
sort of, I don't know, it says somebody spotted some sort of problem. But they don't really like an unusual sound nearby.
Where is it?
Well, it's about a half a mile from here. Let's see what this is.
Okay.
This is
Something's
really
got back
weird.
here, so let's see what we
Yeah,
can find.
I cannot believe this. This weird sound. Yeah, it's certainly. Wait, do you hear that? Oh, that's just the train, right? That's just the train coming in on new train tracks, right? Okay. Nothing too suspicious. Looks like your neighbors still have their lights on and everything for New Year's. Yeah. And so, wait, you hear that? The train's getting a lot closer. It's getting in. Wait. There it is. It's coming in. Oh man, that was really crazy. What just happened? Oh my gosh!
That was nuts.
A train just ran into that tree over there. Do you see that way over there?
Oh,
Oh my gosh!
that's why there's a stick.
Wait, there's a fire. The train wreck just caused a fire. Oh my gosh, we need to call 911 right now. Okay. Let's see. I'll go ahead and you got your phone. I'm using this to show our viewers what's going on.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes, we've got an emergency to report.
Oh my gosh! Look at that fire over there.
Caught fire? No, it's not the usual flaming train wreck. No, this is an actual one.
What could have happened? Oh my gosh!
Oh yes, I know we usually are a flaming train wreck, but this is an actual one, please. This is not a false alarm.
Oh my goodness! I hope they get here soon.
Welcome back to the Great World Podcast. I'm your host, Isaac Edges, joined once again by co-host Jacob Bowman. Jake, what have you got for us today?
Today, we will be continuing our two-part series on looking at all of the big changes that are in store for 2026, and we are going to explain the literal train wreck that just occurred outside the studio.
All right, absolutely. Let's try to work through that one without getting off track.
Yeah, like that train just did.
Yeah, that was a little rough.
That was very rough. We just had, of course, sorry, just electricity just keeps coming through me every once in a while from the electrocution.
What you're talking about.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You sure that you don't know anything about what I'm talking about?
Oh. That was a little rough. Oh, that thingamajig, right, with the breaker box.
Yes, that made you fly backwards after the electrocution. Yeah,
I was wondering why things got so bright in there. Things aren't usually that bright when the power goes out.
Well, you know what was really bright? That fire that was burning after the train wreck.
Yeah, that was bright, but luckily it didn't spread too much.
So yeah, just kind of as a bit of a kind of a understanding as to what was happening. So I got the notification on my phone while we were talking about the AI
All right, and
trains
you
and
read it pretty
cars.
quick, but is that more or less what it was, or did it turn out to be something else?
Well, so it looked like just some sort of warning of something that was going on, and so I immediately just
Okay.
thought, well, let's go outside, because it said that it was nearby, so I wanted to check that out. But it turns out the warning system malfunctioned, and that it was really supposed to be a warning telling us that they were testing out AI-driven trains for New
Right, a
Year's
test.
Day.
Right, a test, and they were also testing those new alarms, those AI-driven train alarms.
Yeah, I guess that's where all
Right,
of the money went
right.
to
Why we
for the
need an
tornado
alarm
sirens.
specifically for that? I guess that's why the raising tax, the wonders of city government.
The wonders for sure.
Yes.
And so what happened was we went out there, and then this AI driven train, literally self driven by AI, that was on the train tracks just outside of the recording studio,
Uh-huh.
it flew off the tracks, it hit a tree, and it caught fire, and it almost hit us. But luckily, we were able to be away from where that fire and train wreck took place.
Right,
So then we had to call the authorities. So you saw us do
right,
that. It's like,
right. And of course, we had to reassure them that this is different from our usual flaming train wreck. There is an actual flaming train wreck right here.
well, I mean, you could say that that electrocution was a bit of a flaming train wreck, and then of course we had an
Right, right. You
explosion.
could say that.
If you think
So,
about it, we've now had a fire 2 years in a row on New
right,
Year's.
right.
Can
That
you
certainly
believe that?
happened. So,
That's really crazy.
right, absolutely. So it's easy to see how the authorities could have grown frustrated with us by this point.
I would say at this point they probably thought that we were crying wolf.
Right, probably.
Then again, they know that we weren't crying wolf the last year when it happened, and so
Yes,
they probably believed it
yes,
at that point.
yes,
And then we've had
probably.
to call them for the gas leak that took place. I mean, think about how many times we've
Right,
made
right.
calls
We
to
may
them.
just be the first people to be blocked by 911.
It very, it very well may happen. We may have to contact the sheriff instead. Then
Yeah,
again,
if he hasn't blocked us
if
yet.
he hasn't blocked us, at this point we practically have 911 on speed dial. I wouldn't know anything about that.
Not at all.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so that's what happened. They were trying to test drive the AI driven train, and unfortunately, it came off the tracks and nearly killed us. So, certainly glad that even after everything that's happened already, kind of a rough start to the year, but even after everything that's happened with us both being electrocuted after the
Yeah.
breaker and all of that, and then now we had an AI driven train that flew off the track and almost ran us down, causing a fire. Luckily, the firefighters were able to put out that fire very quickly. It did take us a few hours to recover and get everything back into
Absolutely, a
order.
heck of a start, and fortunately, it didn't spread as much as it could have. If it went on for much longer, that could have easily become a full-scale forest fire.
Yeah, it could have gotten a lot
Yeah,
worse,
absolutely.
but
We were
luckily
that
it did
close to
not.
having a GWP commercial with Smokey the Bear. So
That would have been quite a sight for sure if
it
that would have
would have.
happened. But luckily it did not. It took several hours for all of that to recover. And so at this point, at the rate we're going, we might as well just stick around for the Rose Parade and watch it right here on our brand new screen that we
Right,
have back
absolutely.
there.
We'll have to do it. It's great to have that new screen. This is one of the many new things coming your way this year from Great World Productions.
Yeah, and another big change that we're going to be trying to make is we're going to be trying to have the intro music on every single episode, even if it is a second or third part to a
Right,
series. So you may have
absolutely.
noticed that at the beginning of
Absolutely.
this
There's a
part two
good chance you
series.
noticed it at the top of this episode, although this episode is part of a sort of two-part episode series. Even so, it was the start of that episode, that video, as it were, and so we played the intro music. A bit of a departure from what we've done in the past, but it seems that it would be appropriate to play the intro music to introduce the episode.
Yeah, so another one of the big changes that we've made here on the Great World Productions, and you'll continue to see those changes as we go forward in time.
Absolutely.
So, we'll now start to look into that second part of the series by looking at some other changes that we can expect to see in the new year.
Absolutely.
So, the next one that we will look at here is something that you've probably already seen in our GWP News Weekly series. We just started doing that during our January weekly news updates, but we have started using the AI computer model for weather, the weather computer model that's now completely AI driven.
Oh, really? Really? So I've
Yes.
seen you using it. I didn't know it was entirely AI driven. So how does that work in meteorology? Where does the AI come in exactly?
So one of the big models that you may notice, I've been using on our newscast a website that is called Tropical Tidbits. And so that puts together all of these different computer models. Some of them are global computer models, some of them regional computer models, and it puts it all together. The one that I have been using has been the Global Forecasting System, or the GFS model.
Okay.
And so that's one of the main ones that's used. There's also a European model, which is another one of those global models that's also used.
Okay.
But the GFS one is the one that you normally see me use on Tropical Tidbits.
Okay.
It's the one where it shows like a full national picture of like temperatures, and it shows different storm systems. And anytime I zoom out on a national level, I'm looking at that.
Okay.
Otherwise, we look at a radar. But as far as for the future track, we go to this Tropical Tidbits on the GFS
Right.
model.
So tell me if I'm understanding this correctly. You say that sort of the main use of the AI in these weather models is to average the pre-existing models.
Yeah,
Is that
it's
the idea?
definitely it's gotten a little bit better, but so
Okay.
this GFS model that we have been using up until January was
Oh.
not AI driven. But
Okay.
there's now a new model that was released in late December of
It is.
last year and in December of 2025 that was released, and that model is called the AI GFS model.
Really?
And so it's the same model output as the GFS, but it's AI driven is
Have
the
you
idea
noticed much
behind it.
improvement? Does it seem to be any more accurate, or
Well, one
is
of
it
the
too early to
things
say?
I would say it's a little bit too early, but I
Okay.
first noticed it. I actually caught it the day that they released it, and that was kind of cool just to see it first being programmed and everything
Right.
on the Tropical Tidbits website there. Now, they have been using an AI computer model, and even a Google model has been used when it came to
Really?
forecasting hurricanes.
Interesting. So the Google model, how exactly does that work? How does it use Google? Does it incorporate Google Maps or?
Well, I don't have as much knowledge about that. I will say that that's not something that I've studied a whole lot,
Okay.
but I
I
have
can't say
noticed
that I
that.
have either.
Well, I've noticed it on the spaghetti plot models that are made for intensity forecasts with wind speed and hurricanes. That's where I first noticed it. Probably the biggest example where I noticed it was that Hurricane Melissa that hit Jamaica in late October of last year. That's when I first noticed it.
Alrighty. So we're not just using AI. We're also using spaghetti for our predictions.
Well, to some degree, you could say that that's been done for quite some time.
So in all Syrian, excuse me, all
That didn't sound too
Assyrians.
serious itself, right
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. I don't know what. Nothing to do with the Assyrians, but in all seriousness, Jake, what exactly is a spaghetti plot as it relates to meteorology and weather predictions?
Well, spaghetti plot is, in basic terms, or the way that I look at it at least, the way that I understand it, there's probably a more technical definition out there
Okay.
that I'm not aware of yet. Um, but my understanding of it is it's basically just a bunch of computer models that are taken into one chart that are lined out over a chart.
Okay.
So you've got like your Y and your X axis, and the computer models are plotted. And so one computer model would represent one line on the graph, but there's different computer models. So you could have like 8 to 10 different computer models on one graph. But because there's inconsistency between the models, especially in the long range forecast, it looks like it just a plate of spaghetti, basically, is what happens.
Well, certainly. Well, let's hope it's not cloudy with the chance of meatballs.
It certainly could at some
Anytime
point. And
soon.
I guess something else that I should mention, it's not just used on graphs, but more commonly when it looks like spaghetti is on like a map. So like a map of the U.S., and it shows
Oh.
like the storm track, or it shows different. We notice this with hurricanes, like it shows a storm track with the spaghetti plot
Well,
model.
that's got to be a mess getting spaghetti and meatballs on your map.
I know you might as well just do it like in the movie Elf, where you pick it up with your hands. You know,
You might as well. You might as well add maple syrup in there too.
might as well, because maple syrup is one of the main food groups.
Yes, it is.
Of
What are the other
course.
main food groups, Jake?
What are the other main?
Yes,
I believe candy canes, um,
candy corn
candy
and maple
corn,
syrup.
maple syrup. There you go.
Yes,
There's
the three food
the
groups.
three food groups.
All
Don't
right,
eat
the food.
anything else.
Right, right. The food pyramid. That's bogus. Okay, it's the three food groups.
Yeah, we're having some technical difficulties
Ah,
there.
yes, that's how you know that our sound system is agreeing with us today.
Or disagreeing, depending
Yes.
on what part of the episode we are in.
Yes, it's great to hear from you, my friend.
Oh, yeah. This is getting really good.
Ah, yes.
There we go. Did it just fix itself?
Hopefully.
Hopefully so. So, well, that will lead us into our next topic. So, of course, that AI model that we showed you in the weekly news updates, that'll be another big change in 2026. Now, going on to the next big thing that we have, or another big change that's going to happen during the year of 2026. Um, let's see, I've heard that there's going to be lots of new foods that are going to be released in
New foods, really?
2026,
Really?
as well as some new restaurants.
Okay. Okay. Is there some catch to this? Is this some sort of awful hybrid cuisine, a combination of six different things mixed together in a pot, sort of a mystery meal, or is this some sort of 3D printed food that actually tastes like cardboard? What's the catch?
Well, it's going to be AI generated restaurants.
Interesting, but they're actual restaurants.
They're actual restaurants completely created by artificial intelligence.
Okay, very interesting.
Disclaimer, what we are talking about at this point in the video is not true.
I see. I see.
But we
But
will continue to go on.
if this were an actual thing,
If this
though,
were a real thing, and to clarify, we've been talking about things that are futuristic and
right,
that could happen in
right. So
2026. These things could also happen beyond
okay, so
2026.
theoretically, this is a real thing in an AI restaurant. How does it work? So
It's
to
run
me,
completely by a computer.
run completely by computer. So to me, it sounds like somewhat to resemble the DoorDash ghost kitchens, if you remember any of those, where they've set up a ghost kitchen inside another restaurant. It's not a physical restaurant that you can go to. The only place that you order from it is DoorDash, and they're just sort of set up privately using another restaurant's kitchen, and they likewise have contracts with those restaurants where they get kickback preparing food for those sort of ghost restaurants that are on DoorDash exclusively. So it seems that it would be something like that probably, because it wouldn't be staffed. I'd imagine you say it's entirely run by AI, so there wouldn't be a human staff, not unlike the Amazon One shops that we've seen.
Yeah, so this would be 100% AI driven.
So it
And
would likely be like that, like sort of a ghost kitchen. Do you think it would be like that, where I'd imagine to sort of ease into those things, if this were a real thing, that it would be set up inside an existing restaurant first, like one of these ghost kitchens, where they'd start using the AI model, and then gradually, we may even see restaurants independent of these that are entirely run by AI, not combined with another restaurant inside it.
well, I would say that it would probably have to start off with a blend of human
I
workers
would
and
think
AI.
so.
So is that kind of what you're
I would
suggesting?
think so. And that's sort of the idea with the ghost kitchen, that you're using existing restaurants with existing employees, which makes sense. And you're just sort of offering a kickback to them to, in addition, prepare food for this digital restaurant, as it were.
So I think the real question is the food made by artificial intelligence computer generated, or is it based on real supplies, like real food items? Or is the
Well,
AI not even controlling the
that's a
food,
great
but it's
question.
prepackaged by humans, but then distributed using entirely
Well, that's a
AI?
great question, and I suppose both are possible. I don't know that we've seen it implemented, certainly not on any wide scale that I know of. But in the past, there has been talk of 3D printed food.
There has been,
I
really.
believe it's been experimented with before, but sort of the idea is, as everyone talks about it, it can very convincingly look like food, right? Because 3D printing is primarily visual, and that's not entirely new. It's been around for a little while now. So it looks just fine, but making it taste like the actual food, that's the real challenge here. So it's possible that this could be the approach of these AI restaurants, that they try to do this 3D printed food, or they could take more of the approach where they actually attempt to imitate human restaurants, where they say have these humanoid robots that are taking food off the shelf and different things and preparing it. Which again, we've seen certain issues with that recently. They recently, of course, as we talked about in GWP News, had a big humanoid robot debut on stage in Russia, and this first debut, this on stage presentation, what did it do? You remember what that robot did, Jake? Yeah, it fell flat on its face.
Or it'd be more like this right here in this.
So,
In fact, hold on just a second. Let me. This can is empty, so it basically just went just like that, fell flat on its
right.
face.
So, and we can look at this as a sort of scale. How much exactly, or to what degree, will these AI businesses of the future, certainly in the case of these AI restaurants, how much will they resemble the actual human counterparts?
It's
Because you
going to
have
take a
sort of a
while.
scale. Are they going to use humanoid robots where they directly imitate humans, or are they going to use something that looks like a box, like a computer? Or will it be somewhere in between?
Will it be, or will it be somewhere in between? I don't think there's ever going to come a point in time
Uh-huh.
where AI completely controls that.
I don't think so.
I mean, I was talking about that kind of again jokingly, and
All
that's
right,
why I put that disclaimer in
they
there.
wouldn't completely control that. I suppose it would be possible as long as a person were to install all of the equipment and service it periodically. Obviously, you would have to go in periodically and replenish some of the supplies.
Well, and
But
that's
beyond that, it perhaps isn't all that far fetched.
yeah, and if we go back to the AI GFS model that I was talking about earlier in the episode, kind of reminds me of that to a certain degree. These computer models are really useful when it comes to short-term forecast. But
Right.
again, the global forecasting system, it goes all the way out to 16 days. If you ever see what it says for the forecast 16 days in advance, whew, it gets kind of rough. And the reason why is because there's not a lot of human intervention within that part of the
Okay.
computer model, especially now that we have this AI model. And I'll say 16 days out in the forecast is pretty inaccurate. There was at one point in time where the forecast was calling for the temperature to be 20 degrees below zero 16 days out. Guess what the temperature was the actual day?
What was it?
70 degrees. It was 90
Really?
degrees difference from what the computer model had said originally.
No, really? Well, I guess I'll have to put my plate in silverware out because it, um, it seems that unfortunately we may not receive that Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs forecast that was predicted 16 or so days ago.
Well, and another example of that would have been there was the GFS model predicted a white Christmas 16 days in advance for this year in Mexico.
Right, right.
In
Which
Mexico,
is a
of
bit
all
unusual,
places.
yes.
So, it just shows. And so, I guess if we were to connect that back to these AI driven restaurants,
Yes.
it comes to the same degree. It can't be
Right.
entirely run because if
Right.
you entirely run a restaurant based on AI, there's going to be problems. Just like if you
Naturally.
entirely rely on a 16-day forecast from an
Right.
entirely run computer model,
Naturally.
it's not going to be accurate either. It's the
Naturally.
same thing.
And likely, as we see, it's doubtless that AI will have a number of impacts on our economy and on the job market.
We
As
had a
it
big
becomes-
discussion about
Right, as
that
it
in our
becomes
season
more
3
and more
finale.
prominent, and you'll have to check out the season 3 finale for more on this. But again, kind of returning to that broader discussion as to what sort of influence it's going to have, and how exactly do you keep a secure job as far as that threat of artificial intelligence to your job. Jake, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. But it seems to me that in the age of AI, this age of automation that we're living in, this sort of big battle we're seeing between man and machine, that the way to really set yourself apart and for the give a secure job that's not going to be automated out of existence any time is to focus on that human element, the people that you're interacting with in your job, because that seems to be, as we saw in Russia. And again, returning to with the AI restaurants, my prediction is it's going to look much less like humans because that's the most difficult thing. Of course, they've been trying to do that with artificial intelligence for a very long time with very limited success of making it look convincingly like a human, making it behave like a human. And so that it would seem in the coming years, coming decades, with the proliferation of artificial intelligence, focus on doing what artificial intelligence and maybe doesn't do all that well, the things that sort of are uniquely human when it comes to talking to those people. Of course, human relations, that's a big thing that wouldn't seem to be going anywhere. Now, middle management in human relations, of course, a lot of middle management positions likely will be automated out of existence, as we've seen throughout history, automating things, cutting out the middleman, as it were, to save money, do things more efficiently. Which again, you can't blame these businesses for wanting to do things more efficiently, do more in production, and again, more efficiently, make more money. There's, of course, a natural incentive there, but it seems that the most apparent way to set yourself apart in this economy, in this age of automation, is to do what AI can't.
Yeah, so again, not everything is going to do that. Again, there was concern that the entire job market would be replaced with artificial intelligence, but that seems very unlikely, at least for me.
Yes.
I'm noticing a big piece of mud that was still in my hair from when we had to dive to the ground from that train wreck that took place.
Yes, that was rough.
That certainly was. You know where else you may get a big chunk of mud later this year from?
Well, hopefully not the AI overlords trying to bury us.
Well, there's one thing that AI can't do, and that's find hidden immunity idols that will be scattered across the state because it is the 50th season of Survivor.
Wait, immunity idols. What exactly are those, Jake? Folks
So,
at home who aren't aware, or for myself.
so Survivor, of course, was the original show when it came
Right,
to
right. I'm
reality
familiar with the show.
TV.
We've talked about that in the past.
Yeah, so it was introduced 26 years ago, nearly, back in the year of 2000, originally filmed in 1999. But there's been 49 seasons that have aired on CBS, and now CBS is going to be airing its
Wow.
50th season at the end of February of this year. And so that's a really big milestone for the show. And so, since they are kind of interesting that they're having their 50th season, and we just had our grand
Right
50th
after we've
episode.
reached our 50th.
Yeah, so that is kind of interesting with that. But as far as the 50th season, they are going to place 50 hidden immunity idols, one in each state that can be found by anybody who wants to go and find them. And so essentially, humid, a hidden immunity
Uh-huh.
idol is an advantage that can be found and played during the reality show
Really,
Survivor.
really, and these things are hidden all across the country, and this is something that viewers themselves, really, anyone who watches the show, anyone who's aware of it, can search for.
Yes. And so again, there will be one that will be placed in each state, including one that will be placed somewhere in the state of Missouri.
Okay.
And coming this Friday, January 30th, clues will begin to be sent out as to where they are located at
That's this Friday. So if you've got any clues, you want
this
to send them
Friday.
to us. Put those clues down in the video below, or email them to us. GWP Tech International at att.net.
That being said, we are actually already signed up on our email to get those clues emailed directly to us.
That's
And I
right.
would
just as
recommend that
you
you do
can
that
do.
as well.
Certainly, if you're interested in that challenge.
Yes, and so again, the hidden immunity idol, what it does is it makes it to where you are safe at tribal council, which is how you get eliminated from the show, and so then you have safety, so you can't be voted off the
Interesting.
island, and therefore you can continue to play.
Interesting. So again, for those who aren't familiar, what exactly is in it for the winners, for people who find these things in their states?
Well, the prize has not yet been revealed, so that's one of the important things to note about that.
Okay.
But
Okay,
it will
do you
be
have any
revealed at
idea
some.
or any guess what it might be?
So it sounds like that the 50 people who get the immunity idol, by the way, if you find it, you take a picture of yourself and you send it to CBS showing that you have it.
Right. Or of course you can send them a picture of us. That would be fine as well.
That would be perfectly fine as long as you give us the hidden immunity idol when you take the picture of
Uh-huh.
us and send that to them. But that being said, again, it will be hidden at any random given location within each state. And so you send that to them, and then you will be entered into a drawing along with the other 49 people. And then somebody within that drawing will win some really big surprise or some big prize. Some people have said that it could be a bunch of money, maybe like $100,000, since sometimes they award that kind of money for different things. Or it could even be a free spot on the show Survivor in a future season. Some people
Okay.
have theorized. These are
Okay.
just theories, not necessarily what's actually going to happen. These are just
Right. We're
what
not
fans think
entirely
might
sure
happen.
yet. Okay, so understand, based on that, is it the case that participants are limited to their own state, to finding the thing in their own state where they are a citizen? Is that the
Well,
case?
I
Or not
don't know that
entirely
that's in the
sure?
rules, so you may have found a bit of a loophole in their
A bit
rules.
of a loophole?
Just
Okay.
maybe so.
Okay,
So again,
so maybe
this
a great time to take a cross-country road trip.
maybe so. So again, this will be starting on Friday, January 30th. So this coming Friday, and it will conclude at the start of the season, which premieres in late February.
Really?
Well, I
Wow,
believe
this.
that is just about all the time that we have here on this New Year's special. We've got to go and watch the Rose Parade premiering in a couple of hours, but that'll be pretty much about it for this two-part series.
Absolutely. Well, we thank you again for tuning in, and with that, we conclude this broadcast. Until next time,
I'm Jacob Fulmer.
and I'm Isaac Hedges, host of the Great World Podcast, signing off until next time. From all of us at the Great World Podcast and Great World Productions, good night and God bless.